Lounging, son.
Welcome back to another episode of the Comic Lounge podcast. My name is Ryan. I got my co-host Dill with me. Say what's up, Dill.
Hey, what's up, guys?
On today's episode, we're going to be talking about Fables Volume 3, Storybook Love, as we continue our read-through of the entire series. But before we get into that, let's talk about maybe just catch up what we did this week. There's no real big comic book news.
Yeah. So, check it out. I'm like halfway through Adrian Tominay's book. It's an easy read, by the way. I didn't realize how easy it was because I didn't open it before I purchased it. And it's literally 4 panels per page. And, dude, it's pretty cool. It's really sad, but I hope it gets happier.
Yeah,
But,
it's the packaging, too, is really cool. I like how he made it like a notebook.
yeah, the Moleskine is great. It's fantastic. And it comes with its own little bookmark string, which I love. It's really good. Like, I didn't know this fool grew up, like, in Fresno. Like, literally, he's pretty local. No, that's pretty cool. Like, I really like it. Really enjoy it. It's really funny. Just some of the stuff, like his encounters with like Frank Miller, like how Frank Miller didn't even say his last name, like announcing him at the Eisners. Like, pretty fun read, which I like thoroughly enjoy. Yeah, what else? Oh, I read Sandman Volume 3. Okay, so I got the Sandman Audible book,
Yeah.
and I was like, dude, I gotta freaking before I even started listening to it, I was like, you know what? I have Volume 3. I haven't read in a while. I'm gonna read Volume 3. I just and like it's always good. Like I'm literally on like my own personal mission to get everyone to start reading Sandman who hasn't. Like Genevieve, like I'm literally trying to get her to read it as fast as possible. Same thing with Donut. Same thing with your brother. Like,
Oh yeah, I saw him yesterday, and I already told him. I said that's what we're doing when he comes on the shows. We're doing Sandman. I mean, yeah, he's all in. He's trying to like go back and read a bunch of Vertigo stuff. So
yeah. It's impressive all the Vertigo stuff he's ready. Like he's blasted through Preacher, and yeah, that's like blasting through Preacher is impressive on its own. So.
yeah, he's finally. I don't want to say he's finally listening to me because I think he listened in more with like the Image stuff that I would recommend. But yeah, like he's dude. He just keeps like he just picked up the entirety of DMZ for me
Oh, nice.
yesterday. Yeah, because Nick gave me his hardcovers
Nice.
because he has his issues with Brian Wood, and yeah, my brother he's going through. He's reading the stuff from Vertigo. Yeah, so I'm excited to get back and read Sandman again. I'm loving Fables. It's before I say what I read this week, I have to say that it is very hard for me to not just put everything else to the side and read Fables. Like, you have no idea what a chore this is for me. I'm not like you. I'm not somebody that can read multiple series that are finished and then just read them, like spread them out. Like that I can't do it, dude. Like, it is literally like I have to stop myself physically from walking to my bookshelf and grabbing Volume 5.
Dude, you're
Or 4.
crazy. I can't do it. I can't sit and it's like binging television. You know what I mean? Like I can't sit there and binge an entire series in one day. I mean, like unless it's like The Office or like Aqua Teen Hunger Force or what else? The original, the first X-Men, the X-Men the animated series. I can't binge read. Like, I mean, the Tom Taylor All New Wolverine aside, that was like the last time I did like more than one volume in one day. You know what I mean?
For me, that's like kind of how I prefer it. More in the sense if a series is done. Like, it's different when a series is continuing on. Like,
Yeah.
like I don't need, like, if let's say, for instance, what's a series like with Saga, I'm caught up, right? When it
Yeah.
comes back, I don't necessarily need to pick up the single issues. I can wait for the trade. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's different. But if a
Yeah,
series
that's how I'm approaching Saga too. Like the thing is, I never purchased a single issue. By the time I caught on, there was already like Volume 4 that was out, and
Right.
I just started reading from there, like trades from there.
but like, okay, I guess I could say Sandman was different. Sandman was a little bit heavier and dense, so I did not feel the need to pick up and read continuously every single volume. But talking about Fables, man, me running my little, doing my shenanigans that got me arrested and stuff. And I was away from comic books for a little while. When I did get back in, and I continued on Fables Volume 9. That's where I had left off, was with 8. I was at the comic book store twice a week picking up volume. I'd pick up one volume, and then I'm like, okay, maybe I'll just pick up 2 this time, and then I'd blast through those 2. So like I ended up catching up like very fast.
Yeah.
And you think Volume 8 was where I left off. There was 14 more volumes, and I flew through it because I couldn't stop. Well,
you're crazy.
When I'm reading a good story and it's captivating me, I don't want it to end. So it's the same thing with like a novel. When I'm reading a novel, I will not read other stuff. I just read the book. I don't want anything else to influence what I'm reading. Except, I guess, the weekly comics I could sprinkle in there, but I won't read any trades. I will only read my new comic books that come out on Wednesdays, and then whatever novel I'm reading. Yeah. That's just... And I can't, like, Sinya, she'll read, like, multiple novels. To me, I just don't get it. Maybe my brain just works differently where, like, I can't do it.
Now, see, that's where you and I have common ground because, like, as far as, like, novels go, I can't... If I'm reading a novel, I can only read the novel. There's just something that works in my brain that unless I have actual visuals, I will lose... I will either lose interest or... I will read as much as I can and then stop, and then I'll never go back to it. That's my issue with novels. I hold on to comics easier than I do novels. I don't know. Like, I'm a pretty imaginative dude. I have a pretty wild imagination, but I need visuals to feed that imagination. Because, like, when I was listening to the audiobook, the Sandman audiobook, like, first of all, it's literally almost word for word, line for line.
Oh, wow.
The comic. Except for Neil Gaiman is narrating, so he's describing stuff that's supposed to be in the pictures. And there's a little bit added, added dialogue just for, dramatic purposes, I guess. But it's literally word for word. But when I was listening to it, the first chapter in Sandman Volume 1, it was, talking about how like the cult like had captured Morpheus.
Right. Oh man, I can't wait to reread it again, dude. You're getting me pumped right now. Like,
dude, good. Because I want everybody to get pumped for Sandman. I want there to be so much hype around Sandman. Oh, which is funny too, because in the Adrian Tomine book, they talk about how like Adrian Tomine is going to like a bunch of signings, and he goes to one in New York, and it's like 300 people there, and then he goes to the guy, "Yeah, I'm here for the signing." Like, no, I'm one of the signers. And then the guy's like, "Wait, you're Neil?"
I know that book is just full of fucking little moments. It's funny that you say that about books, though. Real quick, I don't want to forget this train of thought, if you don't mind. Like you need the visuals, and I don't necessarily need them because while I'm reading, I'm visualizing the scene in my head. Like I literally can see in my mind what I'm reading. And maybe that takes me a little bit longer sometimes to get through a book because I feel like if I'm not visualizing it in my head, I slow down. And then I'm like, okay, wait a second. I need to get this. I need to see what's happening so that I can kind of like lay it out and see everything in my mind. In the same sense, not all writers give me that ability. Like Stephen King, if I'm reading his books, I mean, while he is very helpful in guiding the reader into what they're reading, and seeing it in their head, like it's almost like I'm watching a movie in my head or I'm reading a comic book, and while I'm looking at the words, I see the images laid out in front of me. So
I think it is the writer, because Stephen King does that for me too, and but then there's like an overload. Like I get like an overload of information. Like when the first time I tried to read freaking The Fellowship of the Ring, I couldn't get through it. Like it was the most long-winded. Like, first of all, you didn't have like, it shouldn't, like, I mean, I understand that it was written way before my time, way before like a lot of people that I know who are still alive. It's like, it shouldn't be 3 pages long to describe. It shouldn't be like a whole ass chapter to describe a hobbit hole. like you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I know. Yeah, I have to be honest with you. I haven't read the books because I don't know. I feel like the movies have ingrained so much into my head that I don't know that I will be able to read it without having the films influence me too much, which is why I usually won't watch a film until I read the book. But at
Yeah.
that age, when like I think we were in high school when that came out, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I saw the movies and I ended up really enjoying them. And then I went on this whole like fantasy story binge where like I just like wanted more fantasy comics or novels and stuff. But I just never could sit down. Like I tried to read The Hobbit before the movie came out, and it's not bad. It's a great fucking book. I couldn't sit there and read it, and I tried to read it like right after I had just started getting sober. So I think the fog was still trying to lift off my brain. So I just couldn't sit there and like focus on a book. Like it took me a couple years before I could read a novel because my brain was healing. You know what I mean? I don't know how else to say it besides that.
The holes in your head were patching up. It's fine.
So, but yeah, I get what you mean about like long-winded fucking overly descriptive. But for me, Stephen King walks that fine line. So I don't feel like he's beating me over the head. Like he doesn't do it in a way that like takes me out of the story. He gives me just enough that helps my imagination along, which is why I would say he's my favorite novelist for sure.
Actually, because I've been doing audiobooks a lot because I spend a lot of time in my car now because like driving to and from places. So when I'm not in the mood to listen to music, I'll listen to an audiobook. And I just recently listened to It, the audiobook for It.
Okay.
And dude, it's so good. Like it's really captivating. Like there's very few things I would want read to me, and It is one of them because like. It's just such a classic horror tale. One, and then freaking two, it's Stephen King. So it's like you're right. He doesn't beat you over the head with like too much overt description, but he gives you just enough. It's like especially like when the beginning of the book where they're talking about the carnival and those the two gay guys get beat up, and then you know what I mean. It's pretty descriptive how he talks about it, but it's not like he's literally describing a hate crime, and it doesn't like make me feel uncomfortable, but it definitely gives you the feels and like it definitely incites certain emotions that like trigger things. I actually don't even know who my favorite novelist is, but I would definitely listen and read more Stephen King given the opportunity.
He's brilliant, dude. I mean, fuck, I could go off on like all the stories that I've read by him that just have always just been some of the best books I've read, and I think. Like his the Gunslinger saga, the Dark Tower stuff.
Oh, fuck yeah!
That shit is just phenomenal, and they fucked the movie up, and it pisses me off because I love Idris Elba, but that movie just it was all sorts of bad.
They should have spread it. Like they crammed too much into one movie.
Yeah,
like you know what I mean. Like how many books is the Dark Tower saga? It's like 7 books.
They fucked it up. That's bottom line, But before we get too off the subject, I know you said you were reading The Sandman and Adrian Tomane's book. You were talking a little bit before we started recording that you started reading Sweet Tooth.
Okay, I finished book 1. All right. I don't know if it's maybe I'm just like a little burnt out from the dystopian trope, or maybe reading a book that involves a pandemic during a pandemic is kind of burnt me out. But I mean, I'm not feeling it. Like maybe this might be out of the few Lemire works that I've read, I think this is my least favorite of them.
Dang, dude.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's a good story. I'm not saying it's trash. It's not trash. It's far from it. But like, I literally read Descender before this. I hope him and Mike Deodato Jr. like continue on with Berserker because I thought that was great. What else did I read? Black Hammer was phenomenal. You know what I mean? Like, but this is like, I don't know. Like, I don't know if you watched 30 Rock, but freaking Gus, every time I read his caption bubbles, it's like Kenneth the Page from 30 Rock, like really country, like he's from like Stone Mountain, Georgia.
I know who you're talking about. That's
right. Yeah, you know what I mean. That's what it sounds like. And like I'm not saying like the characters aren't enthralling enough. Like Jeopard is dope. I really like like the tail end of the first book, which is like I think it's the first like six volumes or first 5 volumes or first 3 volumes. I'm sorry. And like it, like at the tail end of it, they're talking about Jeopard and his past and how he was like an OG freaking goon freaking hockey player, right? And it talks about his wife and all that stuff, and just like, oh, that I thought that was like, I was more enthralled with that than I was enthralled with Gus's story. Maybe it's Gus that I don't like. I don't know.
You know what I always say to you, right? When you're reading them.
Just keep fucking going. I mean, that's the thing. I'm going to keep going. Like I said.
Just wait, dude. Hold on. Judge the series when you're done, because okay. I understand what you're saying, and I feel like maybe some of those I can't remember because it's been a while since I first read it, but yeah, I feel like you are having some of the same issues I had. I think you just need to wait till you've read the complete series, and then we'll come back and we'll revisit what you think of it, because I think as a complete series, I mean, there's a reason why I got rid of my trades. I sold them to my friend and got the hardcovers. I didn't rebuy the series because it's not good.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
But see, the thing is, just like the series that I mentioned before, I like absorbed it like within a week. You know what I mean? Like I like, you know, Black Hand. Like you told me to read volume 1, I read through the entire main arc in a week. You know what I mean? Like. And friggin' and Descender, I literally friggin' before I was even done with one trade, I was already feeding to get the next trade. Like, you know what I mean? Like with this, I don't feel that urge, that friggin' drive to keep the story going. I don't know. Maybe it's just a slower pace, but I don't know. Something about it. I don't know what it is. I don't know.
I'm not. Yeah, I mean, to each their own. Everybody can like or not like. I mean, I don't want to get into this because I don't need to. I don't want to argue, but I was talking about it with Jen on the last episode of Thought Balloon we did this past week. Yeah. About how I think that, and this kind of ties into it because a lot of people rave about Sweet Tooth, right? Critically acclaimed, won awards, right? But not everybody. It's not for everyone, and I felt that way a little bit about Monstrous. And throw rocks at me if you will, people. You know what I mean? I don't think it's a bad book. I just feel like sometimes, and we've talked about this, how like you can't read that book month to month. Yeah. Because it's just so dense, right? Yeah. Well, I even felt that reading the trade a little bit. Now, I read volume 1 a while ago, like around the time, maybe a year and a half ago, right? And I was like, oh, this is cool. Like, the concept is cool. There's a lot of stuff going on, a little bit too much at times for me going on. Very verbose, right? Yeah. But the art is fantastic. The art was kind of, for me, the saving grace at that moment. Because I just felt like there was just so much going on. Then I read it a second time. And I loved it. Way more than the first time. But then I read volume 2, 3, and 4. And I was just like, dude, what the fuck is going on? For real, like there's just so much. At times overly dense. Yeah. Well, you know what I mean?
I get that. No, I agree with that. There are times where that.
You know, so like I felt like, and I told Jen this too. I'm like, is there just something I'm missing because so many people love this book and it's winning so many awards? But then I'm like, okay, I felt different after reading volume 1 a second time. Will I feel the same way if I read 2, 3, and 4 a second time? Do I just need to read it slower to like not try to like push through it, which is sometimes what I do when I have a huge to read pile. Like sometimes I'll just push through books and not really slow down.
I do that too. I've been known to do that.
So, you know, I don't know. So it's funny hearing you say that about Sweet Tooth, and I'm sure I'm in the minority about Monstrous. Yeah. I think it's a great book. I think the writing is good. I think the art is fantastic. I think at times it's just there's too much going on and you're given too much information. But again, maybe that's just how I feel. Maybe I'm just an idiot and I need it dumbed down for me. I don't, you know, like, I don't know. Like, I like to think that I can pick up on, you know, the subtleties of writers' writing. And I don't know if maybe the hype was so high that I expected something else going into it because it was so hyped up. I don't know.
Yeah, and maybe that's what that's what I feel about Sweet Tooth as well. Because keep in mind, Black Hammer, I heard about it, but it didn't have the same kind of like notoriety as Sweet Tooth did with a lot of people. You know what I mean? Right. Like, and Black Hammer, I absolutely loved. I just freaking took it all in. Same thing with Descender. You
And
know,
it could just be the topic too. Particular topic is just not for you, or maybe once you've read it all together and you have the complete vision, you may also feel a little bit differently because it goes in places that you wouldn't necessarily think it's going to go. That's all I'll say.
okay, okay,
You know what I
good,
mean? Like
because like you know,
Jeff Lemire plays the long game, I
mhm.
think, and some of his stuff, and I think it's evident in Gideon Falls. Because if you read that
Gideon
book,
Falls is next.
if,
That's the
let me
next
tell you
Lemire
something.
I'm reading.
Thank God that you can read it in trade, because reading it month to month, there are moments where I'm just like, what the fuck am I reading right now? What is he trying to tell me? Like at times, it's just like it's. I literally feel like after I'm done reading it, I have no knowledge of what I read, because it's just like it's such a mind fuck visually that I get lost in the visuals, and then he's just like it's just crazy. It's just an insane thing. And I talked about it with Nick because he just caught up on Gideon Falls, so he
Hmm.
binged it, and
Hmm.
he's like he read 24 issues of it, and he's like you probably need to reread it. And like he was bringing up stuff, and I'm like, yeah, like I like this concept, but like I don't understand like what Lemire is like fucking trying to get at. Maybe I should just save them for arc to arc, but like there's something about me where like I need to read my single issues as they come out. Like I can't let them pile up. I don't like that. Like at that point it's like I might as well just get the trade.
Yeah, I get that.
And like I love the book, and I love what I think it is, but like I feel like maybe I feel like maybe I'm wrong, but I
You
don't know.
like the idea of it.
Yeah, so I don't know. Like that's what I feel like with Sweet Tooth. I think it's not as mysterious as like Gideon Falls. I don't know how else to say it, because I feel like there's like a lot of huge ideas that Lemire is putting into this book that when you read it all together, you'll understand it. Sweet Tooth has got that. There's that mystery going on that by the end of it, you're like, oh, okay, and you get it, and it's like the characters become more fleshed out. It will pull on your heartstrings. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and you will feel like this emotional attachment to each of the characters, and that's all I'll say.
Okay, but I mean, yeah, like I'm looking forward to it. Like I said, like I haven't lost interest in the book, but I'm just saying, like out of all of Mary's writing, like you
And
know,
I agree with you for sure. I'm not saying that you're wrong, and I think that I wouldn't say it's my favorite of his projects,
mhm.
but I do think that like it's something that needs to be looked at as a complete thing. You can't even like it's hard to like judge it a third of the way through. Like even
Yeah.
for me, like I don't want to say I pushed through it, but I kind of did. A
Mhm.
little bit, because I'm stubborn, and when somebody tells me, that's why I read Monsters, 4 volumes of it, because
Yeah.
I'm stubborn. I'm like, if this many people say it's good and this many people's opinions that I respect, I will keep reading it, and I will reread it just to give it that second chance, kind of, because maybe there's something I missed. Maybe I was letting outside opinion, outside hype influence what I was expecting from the book, and I just need to create my own experience
Yeah.
of what
Because
I'm reading.
like that's what I did. Like you know, if someone tells me it's good, I don't ask why it's good. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of how I felt with Lemire's writing. Like because each of the stuff that I read from Lemire has been very different topics, very different genres. We had like superhero genre, we had sci-fi genre, we had like a fantasy drama, and this one is more dystopian drama. As far as like listening to outside influences, like that's kind of because you know like what was it? Like it was like literally this time last year when I started like really like getting into all my indie stuff. Remember how small my indie pile was, my image pile was? I showed you, I sent you guys a picture.
Yeah.
Now it's like ridiculous. Like I have like whole ass runs of indie trades. Like
Yeah, that's
I'm
good.
literally looking at it right now. I feel that the outside influences, they're okay. That's all well and good for you to like, you know, gain interest. But I don't know. Sometimes people and I'm guilty of this too, because I can sit here and talk about how freaking wonderful and amazing Sandman is, but like a person could be like, Dylan, you're wrong. That shit is trash. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
but that's me being overtly passionate about it, and maybe I'm overselling it. You know what I mean? And then when a person and you know, when a person will read it and be like, "This sounds like one big ass, long ass DMT trip, Dylan. Like, why did you suggest this?" Like, I'm sure that'll happen. Like, I'm sure when we have Ari on and friggin' I'm over here gushing over it, we're gonna have some listeners. It's gonna be like, you know, goes out and reads it, and friggin' they're gonna think I'm freaking high on meth. Like,
I mean, you're not the only one that does it. My brother has said the two of us together, when we talk about a comic, hypes him up so much that he's like, you guys could sell any book to somebody listening because of how much we talk about it. But again, we only talk about books we love. But, you know, especially like if I reread something, maybe I liked it back then. Maybe I don't like it as much now. I'll be honest with my opinion. I'm not going to just be like, because I loved it then, I will always be honest in my opinions on here. But yeah, I think that you and I, our love and passion for comics just, you know, I don't think our opinions are wrong either. I do think that, you know, like you said, like just some people's tastes are different, and sometimes they go into it like taking our fucking energy and our fucking hype, and maybe they just, you know, they expect more from it than they're getting.
Yeah. What's one comic you and I both universally love? Oh, Human Torch by Kessel and Scotty Young, right?
Yeah.
Like, we absolutely love that. But do we love it because of nostalgic reasons, or do we love it because it's a good story? Quite frankly, I reread it just recently. I still love it. Like,
I mean, whatever, dude. I liked it. I'll be honest. What about that book did we love? We loved Scotty Young's art. That's what we were looking at. Yeah. We fucking liked it because of his graph style that he had in there and the hip hop influences that were in his art that he doesn't even really like lean into anymore. So like that's the only place we can get it. You know, fucking whatever, dude. I like that book. What else is something that not everybody loves? Fucking McFarlane's Spider-Man, dude.
Yeah.
A lot of people go back and read it and they're like, nah, that's trash, dude. That's not good writing. Or same thing with like McFarlane's early Spawn.
Spawn. I love it. Like I don't care how corny it is and how long-winded it is. It's freaking amazing.
Let's talk about something that is, I think, universally loved, and I've not found anybody that dislikes it, and that's Fables. We're going to talk about Volume 3 right now.
Okay, awesome. Let's talk about it.
You're going to, you know, I know I'm the host, dude, but like I said, I think every time we read a Fables volume, you have to take the lead.
I have no problem with that because, like, okay, the Fables books, like the first 3 volumes always starts out the same for me. It's like, oh my God, there's just so much backstory. Like I read it, and then by like maybe the second chapter of it, I'm like, all right, cool, let's fucking go. This is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Okay, Fables 3, Storybook Love. But with a title like that, Storybook Love, you'd think it would cover stories like Beauty and the Beast or like The Little Mermaid, where like the tones of love were like just overtly there. You know what I mean? But instead, it kind of captures. First off, I like the first chapter of it where it talks about Jack, how he was technically a part of the Southern Rebellion. About a part of the Confederacy, right? And he was basically just like trying to coerce himself into like, you know, into the beds of Southern belles and stuff, and then which inherently causes him to have an encounter with the devil, have an encounter with death, have an encounter with zombies. I absolutely love that, and how they did that and how it ties into like the rest of the story. Especially with the grand, you know, Ocean's 11 storybook edition style heist. Like, yes. Like, it was great. I enjoyed this much more than I expected to, especially me going into it thinking it was going to be like the love stories of Fables but it wasn't what I expected, you know what I mean? Which caught me off guard in a good way. Especially when they talk about Bigby Wolf and his infatuation with Snow White.
And that's where the storybook love comes from, because it's not your typical storybook love, and I think that's why they called it. Yeah, they called this volume that.
Yeah, and what I gathered from him giving a description of his abilities, I'm like, Bigby Wolf is essentially Wolverine. he's literally Wolverine. Like he is friggin' only difference is he friggin' morphs into a wolf. And like that's cool. How he talks about how he, you know, his senses are so like hypersensitive that he literally has to smoke like a chimney to block it out, and that's only half of his blocking out the senses because, you know, I don't know if which one of our listeners have been to a big city, but big cities stink.
Yeah, just go downtown.
Yeah, downtown Los Angeles stinks. You ever heard of petrichor? It's like it's the word they use like when the rain hits the cement and it's that smell of wet cement. when it first rains. That's petrichor, right? Like
Okay.
never experienced petrichor in downtown Los Angeles
Oh,
because
fuck no.
it's disgusting. It's fucking gross. Anyway, I digress. But like, you can only imagine what it's like for someone with hyper senses, you know. But then he goes on to describe like Snow White and how he's the one he can't ignore because back in the day, like he said, their first encounter, you just smelled right. That's the one sense from her that he couldn't get away. Then he goes on to start describing like boom, 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 boom. Like, I know when you're happy. I know when you're sad. I know when you're mad. I know when you're jealous. I know what you ate yesterday.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? That's pretty crazy. Like, a pretty crazy concept of love, especially him being like a lichen, where he can like essentially freaking turn into a wolf and werewolf and all that stuff. It's a pretty different way of describing what love is, especially for something that's of different species. You know what I mean? It's
Right,
more primal. It's more primal, right?
Right, but he's not a werewolf though. He is a wolf first. He uses an enchantment to turn human.
Yeah.
So it's actually, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
But like you could almost find that creepy. Like when he's like, I know when you're happy. I know when you're sad. You know what I mean? But like I read it and I'm like, it's almost kind of endearing because like he has to hide all this. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
but then you get why he's been so protective of her following like her getting attacked on the farm. Going back to, I do want to go back to that, you know, the heist, right? I loved, I loved Sleeping Beauty in this. Like it starts off with her, she pricks her finger on a diamond, which instantly puts the spell back, and she makes everybody that surrounds her fall asleep, which is something that you didn't see in like in the old fairy tale, which I like that. And then you had Prince Charming kind of re-ingratiating himself with her, you know, like
Wait. I remember when we first read Volume 1 and you were talking about how the growth of Prince Charming you really like. I'm really starting to not like this fool, but I like where his story is going. It's pretty cool.
it's only gonna go further along as the story goes. But you know, in that heist and stuff, we see that Bluebeard, like that fear that he has of Bigby, he literally like goes out after Bigby's like tells him what to do, and then he like in the hallway you just see a tear roll down Bluebeard's face.
Yeah.
He's fucking terrified of him.
It kind of falls in with this tweet that I saw from Gail Simone, and it really fell in. I was reading as far as Bluebeard, but she tweeted. She's talking about like fake tough guys, how fake tough guys resent real tough guys so much because it actually reveals what kind of shit person the fake tough guy is. And I kind of feel like that's what we get here from that little altercation between the two, between Big B and Bluebeard, because Bluebeard, for as pretentious as he is, he really ain't shit.
No.
Everything that Bluebeard's been involved with, he's always had someone else be the trigger man.
That whole story, like, of this reporter that has been researching the fables and stuff and how they don't age, and he comes up to Bigby, and Bigby, like, just comes up with this plan to take him down, right? And I love the team that he puts together. Flycatcher, Little Boy Blue, and Bluebeard and stuff, and Sleeping Beauty and Prince Charming. I love
that's such a team. It's such a team.
Yeah,
dude.
It is pretty crazy, and that's where we start seeing Prince Charming. Like he kind of like ingratiates himself back with Sleeping Beauty because he has nowhere to go anymore once again. So he like convinces her to like let him stay there. But I think the funniest thing of that arc, or that little arc, was how they blackmailed the reporter because they took pictures of him
with Pinocchio.
Now, I don't want to see those pictures. I don't know what they did, but it obviously has to be pretty fucking bad for, you know, to use it as blackmail. But I just thought it was brilliant, and this is where we see, like, leading into the next arc, like, Bluebeard pretty much feels like a little bitch, and he wants to take Bigby out. This is what leads us into the next one, and we see, like, that he's teaming up with fucking Goldilocks to take him down, you know, to kill him.
Goldilocks is like literally quintessential crazy ass bitch.
Yeah, dude, he even comes up to her. He's like, man, I heard you were hitting on his manservant, who's a fucking yeah, and it's just so funny, dude, because she's like it just like plays on like that bestiality kind of thing, which is kind of odd, but kind of like funny and weird too at the same time.
Yeah.
And then so we see Bluebeard. He's trying to take them out, and
Mhm.
he puts Snow White and Bigby under a spell, and then they
Mhm.
end up fucking waking up, and they've been camping and stuff, and like all ties back into what you were saying, how like basically confesses to her why he's been feeling this type of way towards her, and why he keeps like bringing it up, right? And then she even says like, there was only one bed. Like, did we do something? He's like, I don't fucking like.
We were only in one tent.
Yeah, so like I don't know what happened. I pretty much woke up out of it just like you did. And also in this, dude, there's so much that kind of takes place that continues to like play out, right? We see the beginnings of Snow White and Bigby, and we also learn that Bigby is also, not only is he a wolf, but he's the son of the North Wind.
That's fucking cool.
Is why he has the power to fucking huff and puff.
Dude, that shit was great. I totally forget that he's literally the big bad wolf from all the wolf stories.
And then like Goldilocks tries to take a shot at him, he gets injured. Snow White has to fucking reset his arm. Then we see him turn into the wolf, and she's like riding on his back. So this motherfucker's huge. He can have somebody riding on him. You know what I mean? And then eventually how he takes fucking Goldilocks out and shit. And he just like knocks her out of the fucking trees and stuff.
Right, dude.
She gets viciously fucking attacked by Snow White. It's not just Bigby. She takes a goddamn axe to Goldilocks' head. Dude.
Yeah, and like it's like one of the most violent things. Like what I really like about Fables. Like at any given moment, it will really take it there, like to like a really gory position. You know what I mean? Like damn, like it wasn't just the axe to the head. It's like a freaking snowball effect, like a literal snowball rolling down a mountain, because that's what happens.
Yeah, and I like it too because it's running parallel to what happens between Prince Charming and Bluebeard. Because earlier Bluebeard or Prince Charming and him, they do a duel, right? In a fencing lesson, and Prince Charming gets defeated. But now when he confronts him, because he has his spies who are little men on mice, which is
the mice police, mouse police.
Yes, which is hilarious, right?
I love that.
He confronts it. He knows. He's like, and this again, we see the growth in Prince Charming's character, which is what makes me start to like him, is he knows that Snow White loves Bigby. And he's trying to, like, in some way redeem himself in her eyes because of how much harm he caused her and hurt. So he goes after Bluebeard, and he's like, I'm not going to let you do it. And then we see his real skills come out, dude. And he was fucking just playing. He was trying to lure him in to thinking that he could defeat him, and he fucking kills him. So we see the death of Bluebeard at the same time as we see the death of Goldilocks. Boom. One rebellion fucking diminished within a span of one issue. This all took place in one issue where we see them as Goldilocks is getting her head bashed in and taken out. We see fucking Bluebeard get murdered. Prince Charming is also using this to try to get his wealth back.
And position himself into the higher ranks of Fabletown.
Right, but what does he do? He gives it all to fucking Mayor Cole.
King Cole.
Dude, so like, whereas I thought, like on first reading, you'll probably think like, oh, he's trying to keep all this money for himself. He ends up giving it away. But he also still has some shit that he's got cooking up. So while he's trying, he is trying to be good, he's still the fucking rogue that he always was. And he's got some other plans cooking up because now he wants more power. And he wants to become mayor. Because, like, how else does he have the power other than to try to become mayor, right?
Yeah. Which is definitely going to play in something vicious, especially with Snow White being deputy mayor. You know what I mean? And technically, she's the one that runs the show. So it's definitely going to play in.
Yes,
and
I mean,
I can't wait for that to unfold.
Oh, dude, the back and forth between them continues to be amazing. And we can't forget one more revelation that we had. Like I said, they were sharing a tent. Well, after she agrees to go out with Bigby on a date, at the end of it, because they did become closer during this like fight with Goldilocks, she finds out she's pregnant. And then she's pissed at him because she's like, you should have known with all your senses, you had to have known that I was pregnant. And he's like, he plays it off because he didn't want to like kind of piss her off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so he didn't want to say anything, but that he's kind of happy that he's going to be a dad. It just sets up so much stuff. Even the cover to Volume 4, if you look it up, which it's not, she's pregnant on the cover, so it doesn't spoil anything. I mean, it would have, I guess, if you would have looked ahead in the trades, but the next volume is called March of the Wooden Soldiers.
Ooh,
Take from that, yeah, take from that what you will, dude. But it is another amazing fucking volume. And again, it's hard for me not to fucking just like lock myself in a room and just read the rest of Fables. Because I really just want to. I want to just not even buy any comics, which is hard for me to do anyways, and just go read that. But in light of what we're doing here on the show, I don't want to, because I don't want to have to like go back and read it again for, you know what I mean, that quickly. But I'm definitely excited to fucking jump right back into Fables already. Like, I'm already ready for Volume 4.
No, Fables is great. I'm thoroughly enjoying it. I'm glad we're doing it. But yeah, it's gonna be hard. When are we reading next Fables? Hold on, let me look. Oh, okay, we got 2 weeks. So we're doing the Matt Fraction Iron Man with Nick.
Yeah.
And then we're doing Longbow Hunters. That's gonna be good. Longbow Hunters is gonna be good, and I can't wait to have Nick on here.
It's gonna be fun for sure.
It's gonna be super fun.
But yeah, so if any of you guys have been following along with us and reading Fables, or if you're picking it up for the first time because of this, I can't wait to fucking continue this read through, man. This is a great series, and like, if you haven't been listening to us talk about Fables, and you started on a different episode with us, definitely go back, listen to those, and pick up Fables, because this is one of the best series to come out in the last, I'd say, 25 years, easily. It's always good. Each volume just continues to pick up that pace.
I'm really enjoying like the new takes on some of these older Fables. Like, you know, at the end of the book, they go into the story of the little people from Lilliput. And for those who don't know about the little people from Lilliput, Lilliput is the town that Gulliver traveled to, and was like a essential giant. But it talks about, like, you know, how they became a thing, and they founded Small Town. The whole Fables coming to America, to the new land, which I freaking thought was amazing, because I don't know, something about little people. Something about little. I mean, I'm a little person, but like not like little like that. But it's really interesting just to see the take, especially with like the hero of Lilliput going back to the homelands and doing his thing. It's the whole David and Goliath thing, except they're the little person and we're the Goliaths. Like, you know what I mean? I really enjoy it. I really like the new takes. I like how they're depicting Jack as, like, you know, the con man of con mans. I like Big B, how he's basically a reformed freaking villain turned, like, same thing with Bluebeard. Bluebeard in a sense, but Bluebeard was kind of like a douchebag all the way through. But that the new approaches that they're coming at these classic like characters, it's absolutely great, and I can't wait to see more. I know eventually we're gonna see who the adversary is, and I know that you've said that it's absolutely crazy who it is. So yeah, it's hard for me to continue forward with it too. But like you said, I don't want to have to go back.
Yeah, that's why, like, I feel like, that's why I said we got to do 2 a month. If we did 1 a month, man, it would just be too hard, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, but before we get out of here, let's talk about anything coming up that we're looking forward to. Anything this week that you...
Did you read any of the new comics? I haven't read any of the new comics this week. I mean, I wanted to read Hellblazer because it's not only this John Constantine, but it's also Tom Taylor.
Oh, it was fantastic.
Okay, cool.
I really enjoyed it. He kind of has a couple cool little callbacks to, Jamie Delano, the writer of the original Hellblazer.
Nice.
Yeah, it kind of, I don't want to talk about the story because I didn't know anything going into it. I just picked it up because it was Tom Taylor and Derek Robertson on a fucking Constantine book. I don't want to ruin it for you, but yes, I do think you will enjoy it. I also read Black Widow, which I thought was, it was a decent first issue. The art was phenomenal.
J. Scott Campbell only did the cover, right?
Yeah. No,
okay, cool.
That's not the artist I'm saying was phenomenal.
Okay, cool.
And I'm not trying to knock him either, but no, the book was great. I love the design of the logo. I think the design of the cover is really cool as well. What else did I read?
Firepower. I've been Bitterroot. I read Bitterroot and I read Firepower. Like, those are the only 2 new issues that I read this week.
Bitterroot fucking killed it. That shit was
it did.
Dope, dude. I mean, I was gonna read it before I talked to Sanford, but I didn't want to read it on the digital copy. So I even told him when we were talking, I was like, I had it and I thought about reading it so I could ask you about it. But at the same time, like, I didn't want to, like, ruin my experience. But yeah, I'm glad I didn't, because that issue was it just knocked it out of the park. I don't think anything else too exciting I read that came out last week. Well, there's a new Spider-Man, which I kind of told you I jumped back on for this arc.
A new ASM?
Yeah, because I was I read the one shot that was leading up to this arc, and I thought it was pretty strong. So far, the arc has been not bad. We'll see. It's leading up to the return of Norman Osborn as Green Goblin, so I'm kind of down for that.
Yeah.
And I'm a sucker for anniversary issues too. I have a hard time not buying those. And then Williamson is wrapping up his Flash run, and fuck, dude, last Flash issue was so good. I'm really sad that he's leaving. And then new Ninja Turtles comic, and then we got that Web of Venom one shot, Wraith, which I heard is supposed to be like really good. I don't know if it could just be them trying to hype up the fucking book, or this could be one of those one shots that is going to pay off in the long run.
Right. You know what I'm excited for? Fucking The Rise of Ultraman. That shit comes out next week.
Oh yeah. I never really watched
Ultraman, like, as a kid. Like, well, first off, like, it ties in with the whole Godzilla, my whole Godzilla obsession. Giant monsters freaking attacking cities, and you have like a giant silver dude fucking defending it. Fucking awesome. But I may be excited for it because of childhood nostalgia, but we'll see. Like, you know what I mean? I'm gonna read it because first off, it's Ultraman, and some of the teaser art that they showed is like literally Ultraman and Spider-Man. Like, so wait, does Ultraman exist on freaking Earth 616, or what's going on?
Oh, I have no fucking clue. That could have just been a variant cover too.
Yeah.
Looks good, and I will give this. While Kyle Higgins, I wouldn't say he's like, oh my god, one of my favorite writers. He does good work, and he made the fucking Power Rangers comic a bestseller, and he really honored what came before, giving you a sense of nostalgia while also making it compelling and interesting to read for anybody that doesn't have that nostalgic feel. So with him doing this book, it's not on my pull. But I will check it out because the art does look great, and yeah, I mean, it looked interesting. It definitely looked interesting from the
Like, some of the preview pages look freaking awesome. I don't know what it is. It's like with Marvel Disney acquiring all these properties. Like, it's just I'm just curious to see where they're gonna go with it. When they announced that they acquired Ultraman, that was around the same time. That was like only like a few weeks before they announced that they got Predator and Alien. So. You know what I mean? So, like, all this stuff, like, where they're going with all these new properties, like, I'm very excited for.
They announced Ultraman pre-pandemic.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Pre-pandemic.
I mean, the book got resolicited right before, like, when they announced that. But there was a huge gap into when they said they had Aliens and Predator licenses.
Oh, yeah, actually, you're right. All these new properties coming into the fold, like, it's going to be interesting how they incorporate it. It's kind of like when Conan came back. You know what I mean? Like, Conan for the longest time was like old school freaking Marvel comic, the Marvel Comics group, like when they still had the top banner at the top of every comic, and like, so having Conan like reintegrated into the Marvel universe, I think it's been great. I love Savage Avengers. That shit was like freaking amazing to me. Like,
I think it's different. Like, okay, look. They used to have the Conan license. I was not mad that they got it back, although I think that it sucked for Dark Horse losing all these properties.
Yeah.
But whatever. And then Star Wars made sense, right? Like, Disney owned Star Wars. Disney owns Marvel. It was a matter of time for that to happen. But, I think what they've done with the Star Wars line of comics, for the most part, have been great. They put top-tier talent on them. The Conan book by Jason.
Dude, that's friggin' Darth Vader by Kieran Gillen.
Oh, dude, yeah.
That shit's crazy. That shit, like some of the best Darth Vader one-liners I've ever read.
Even the Charles Soule stuff was good, dude.
Yeah.
I just picked up the second hardcover for that. I forgot I ordered it. I ordered it pre-pandemic, so it's been that long, and then all of a sudden Nick was like, "Oh, this came in for you." I was like, what the fuck? I didn't order this.
Yeah, that happened at Arsenal too. Like, it was months ago. that we ordered a bunch of stuff and they all came at once. Like,
Oh my God, I know. They've been doing that with
crazy.
reorders, dude. They've been like, we got fucking 4 large boxes from Diamond of reorders.
So did we.
Dude,
oh, it's fucking crazy. And then freaking, we got like 5 boxes of Hot Toys that just came in. Like, what the hell is happening right now?
But yeah, talking about Darth Vader, we went off a little bit, but whatever. Yeah, so like, we'll see what Marvel does with these properties. I think so far they're doing a good job. I think that it's always kind of testy, dude, when properties like this get turned into a comic when they didn't originate as a comic book. You know what I'm saying? So like, when you take a TV show or a movie and you turn it into a comic book, does it always translate well? I think for the most part, they tend to do well. They tend to do good. But you think about like the Power Rangers, those comics do pretty well. The Mega Man comic that they just came out with at Boom, I read it. It was okay, but I think it's tied into some new Mega Man shows that I don't know and I won't watch anyways. You know, I think it's all just about how you handle it. Don't be a caricature of the original property, and really like try to do an honest take and take it seriously, and then they'll do well. I think that's what's important when they adapt stuff. But.
Right. Oh, you know what else I'm excited for? Wonder Woman 762.
Oh, I read the first issue. It was good, but they didn't have the second part, so I couldn't read it. So I'm just going to wait for the trade.
I've been getting those, the Joshua Middleton covers. They're so good. They're so good. Ridiculously. Like, it's unnecessary to be that good on a cover.
Oh, I know. He's easily one of the best cover artists in the biz right now. I mean, it's just like, I don't even know how he does it. It's just phenomenal, man.
I would love to see one of his process. I would hope that he posts like a process video soon. Like, you know what I mean? Like, because it's fucking top notch. Like, it's the Italian chef kiss. So good. Like, jeez. And then I'm just waiting for that one, the one that he posted, because like he's had a variant cover for ever since the Marco Tamaki run, right? Every issue of the Marco Tamaki run, he's had a freaking variant cover. And each one is just getting better. But there was that one that I posted a couple weeks or months back that was just like freaking pinnacle of Wonder Woman fucking covers. And I can't wait for that one to come out. 765.
Okay. I'll look it up. Yeah. I think that's all I got.
Same.
I'll throw out a plug real quick though. As of the day that this is posted, I won't say as of the day it's recorded because that doesn't even matter. There will be 3 days left on the Insider Art Kickstarter. I don't know if it's fully backed as of the time that this is posted. I would be stoked if it was, but as of the day we're recording, we need a little over 8,000 left to get this project funded. It's been fun helping Shelly promote it. I mean, I even got my daughter in on it. She did that.
Little nugget.
Yeah.
Such a little nugget.
Yeah. So I really want to see this project come to life. It's an amazing project. If you're listening and you haven't backed it yet, go to Kickstarter, search Insider Art, and make sure you fucking do it. $20 for 270 pages of comics, crafts, and cats. And it's all ages. It's just an amazing collection of talent. You can also find it. There's links all over the Comic Lounge Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all that shit. I've been sharing the shit out of it. So yeah, make sure you guys go out and back that project.
I backed it. The Insider Art Project. 270
for only $20.
For only $20. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Like, that's huge.
Yeah, you can't get that anywhere, dude. So.
And also, there's cats everywhere.
Dude, yeah, dude. And if you looking for that perfect Christmas gift, dude, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever the fuck you're celebrating, it's 30. But you get multiple books, and it's like 2 for $35, or I think there's another tier. Like, you get a deal if you get multiple. So get out there, buy that book. There's nothing much else that we got. So make sure you follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at The Comic Lounge. Throw your comments, suggestions down below. Or if you want, you can email us, thecomicloungepod@gmail.com. All those links will be down below as well. Make sure you subscribe. We're available on YouTube, Podbean, Spotify, iTunes. So if you make sure you hit the subscribe button so you're notified every time we drop a new episode, new video, which go up about 4 to 5 times a week. The podcast is up every Tuesday. Don't want you guys to miss out on all this awesome content, our shenanigans that we shenanigans.
Shenanigans.
Yeah, all the rambling we do, but
I can't wait for next week's shenanigans with Nick. Oh my god.
oh yeah.
And I'm hosting. Oh my god.
I know. You know, it's funny. I noticed that you're hosting every time we have a guest. I looked on the thing. So, yeah. And on that note, we're out.
Peace. Later, buds.